Quality's your job. That's you talking to the manufacturer, right? Why isn't it the manufacturer's job? Why isn't it the supplier's job? Well, it is, but it's also largely your job. Let's talk about what quality means from a brand perspective. What you really need to know, very generically, this could be a extensive conversation, but let's just get into the basics of this. Now, what do I mean when I say quality? I mean two things. And there's really two things you need to focus on as a brand owner. First is the quality of your product, right? If you're a brand owner, you should be aggressively focused on the quality of your product. You want to make sure that your product is associated with your customers as a good product. That's staying power. That's how you stay in the industry. That's how you expand your brands. You have one product that's awesome quality. Oh, let's put another one out there. Your customers are going to associate that with your initial quality. So don't sacrifice quality. The other part of quality, and it should be just as important to you emotionally as your brand's quality, is regulatory. So the FDA is regulating this industry. We're a little bit closer in regulation to food product rather than pharmaceutical, and that being there's some advantages and disadvantages to that. So the FDA has passed some acts in the past that mean that you are regulated as the brand by them to make sure that your product is first and foremost safe for your consumers, that you are fully aware of the risks, and you should try and mitigate all of the risks, similar to food product. The other part is that you are not claiming effectiveness that doesn't work within the regulation. And so if you think about a pharmaceutical, safety is definitely still there. Food safety is still there. You want to make sure that it's safe no matter what. With food, there's really not a lot of claims you're making with food. No one's saying Cheetos are curing anything. But pharmaceuticals, there are claims that are made with pharmaceuticals. And nutraceutical supplements are a lot closer to food. Um, the FDA wants to make sure you're not acting like a pharmaceutical. And so that's one thing that you really need to understand is that from a regulatory perspective, you need to make sure you're keeping your consumers safe, but you're also not telling your consumers that it's helping cure something. Even if it does, it's kind of a bummer. You can't say it. So if you have a ton of research that shows that your product is an anti-inflammatory, can't say it because now you're going to be considered a pharmaceutical and you're going to have to go through all those regulations. So as a supplement, as a nutraceutical, you are not allowed to claim that it improves a negative health. What you can do is say that it maintains positive health. So if you get creative in your language, you can still convey some similar things by saying it maintains normal natural health conditions. It boosts normal natural health conditions. And so that is it. It supplements healthy living. It doesn't cure problems. It doesn't help unhealthy conditions. You're not allowed to say that. So that's kind of from a regulatory perspective. But let's jump back into talking about quality up front with your brand quality, right? So you want to make sure that every partner in your chain that you bring on, suppliers, manufacturers, people who help you formulate, people who help you market, legal, they all have your brand's quality in place. I personally think that transparency is the best way to do this. So if you're talking to suppliers and they're sharing documents, they're sharing process, they're telling you where your stuff is coming from, how it's tested, how it's treated, how it's dried, how it's manufactured or processed. That's a good sign for a supplier. If you're talking to a manufacturer and they're inviting you to come look and come see what they do and they're sharing documents and they're not hiding anything, that's a good sign. Same thing with a formulator. If you know exactly what their process looks like and they've got it all documented. So, really, transparency is huge within this industry. And that's what's going to build trust from a supplier, from a manufacturer's perspective to you as a brand. And so, pay attention to that. and really share your needs, share your wants, share your desires. If you're pushing outside of the realm of possibility, a manufacturer should tell you, a formulator should tell you. People who are promising everything without any hesitation to rein you in on some things, I would be hesitant with them. That's a promise everything, deliver little, rather than people who are truly delivering on what they're telling you they're going to deliver. So really focus on quality from those two perspectives, that you're developing a brand where you trust what is coming out of it. Because a consumer is going to want to know, right? So if you can convey to a consumer that this product is made really well, that it is reliable, and that it is what we're claiming it to be on our supplement facts panel, then that is awesome. And if you can prove it, even better. So documentation to prove those kinds of things will build that reliability and that trust, and then make sure that you're aware that you are responsible regulatory wise for what you sell. Um, I, as a manufacturer, am responsible to make sure that I keep your product safe, but you're ultimately responsible as the distributor of the product to a consumer for making sure that I'm doing what I'm supposed to be doing and that the suppliers are doing what they're supposed to be doing. We're all kind of in this together. I, however, am not responsible for your marketing. I am not responsible for what you're claiming. I am not responsible for those types of things. So really be aware of what you're doing. Get some help with get help with it if you are uncomfortable. Reach out, talk to us. We'll get you connected if it's outside of our wheelhouse. It's not as daunting as you think. It just takes some knowledge and some thought process and honesty. Honesty and quality go hand in hand from a brand perspective to a consumer, and also from supplier, service manufacturing, et cetera, to you. So if you have questions, reach out. You can do this and keep crushing it.